Alright, my name is Artsy Sister, and for now I'm doing the sound test. Okay. Alright, so we have sound. And my voice is projecting more or less. Okay, so I'm continuing with time processing. Like I first did the top 2 stories, and now we're gonna do the one at the bottom. Like I'm basically going from world to world in order to fulfill people's wishes so that the winter spirit doesn't disappear off the face of the earth. Cause since she procrastinated on her work, now it's up to me to pick up the slack. The wooden door quietly opens. Obviously someone is trying to move as silently as possible. I don't look up, but from the corner of my eye, I catch a glimpse of a small figure gently closing the door and sneaking up behind me. I pretend not to see anything and quietly put down the crystal ball I was examining, and I mentally prepare myself for the impending impact. Miss Dahlia. And I feel a gust of wind and a small sturdy arms wrapped around my neck, and I feel her weighing on my shoulders. I readily steady her and then place her on the chair next to me. Huh? I never managed to surprise you. Do you want to know why? Tell me. Because... I paused for dramatic effect, and Winnie waits eagerly and her arms still around me, rubbing her cheek against me. I can read minds. Even if you don't say anything, I know what you're thinking. And plus, the Time Princess has time travel powers, so yeah, of course, nobody can surprise you if you can, like, time travel and stuff. I don't believe that. Martha said that people's hearts are never easy to read unless Winnie's sparkly emerald eyes start about. Unless you can tell me what I'm thinking of right now. Winnie covers her mouth. Let me take a look and see what you're thinking about. The sharp thoughts are almost written on her face, and combined with the recent excitement of the people's for Hawk, it is easy to guess what the little one is thinking. But I still make a few mystical look and gesture, and Winnie's eyes follow my hands closely. It seems to be related to the Edith Festival. The origins of the Edith Festival are not recorded in writing, and other half-breeds have nostalgically remarked that the ancestors of half-breeds and beasts have already begun celebrating this festival when they lived in the jungle. And the half-breeds got driven out of the Edith Mountain in scattering groups, and they were bullied and enslaved and gradually lost their ancestral tales. But in the blood of every half-breed there flows a love and reverence for Edith Mountains. Now led by Aaron, the tribe has returned to the Edith Mountains, and the half-breeds can finally worship the forest god once again. So you want to celebrate the Edith Festival with everyone? Well, that's totally right. So what do you think? Winnie exclaims in admiration and then closes her mouth, staring straight at me. It seems we need to go out and buy supplies for the upcoming festival. Let me see, who should I choose to go with me? It has to be someone who's strong and able to help out. Me. Pick me. I'm not an adult yet, but I'm very strong. I smile and rub her horns, and she's still young, so her horns aren't rough and feel like polished stone. Haha, yes. Who else? Go ahead and change clothing now. We're leaving soon. Awesome. I love you the most. And Winnie leaves bouncing and hopping, completely indifferent from how reserved and fearful she was when she first arrived to the Fort Hawk. And I feel comforted by my gaze and involuntarily fall on the small crystal ball. The crystal ball doesn't seem to be doing anything, and how do I complete the task for the December spirit? Right now I have no idea what to do, so it looks like I'll just have to take it one step at a time. And my mind is filled with countless thoughts, so I interrupt by light and quickly knocking at the door. And Miss Dahlia, have you changed your clothes yet? I'll be there soon. Like I'm just going with whatever gives me the most course cost slices. I just started and I don't have a lot of selection. The one simple underground cave is now completely transformed, and against the background of the festival atmosphere, the streets of the lively town are bustling. And most of the resources are adequate, and humans and half-breeds celebrate each other's festivals without any restriction. And even though the Edith festival belongs to the Hasbys, the underground humans happily join in the weaving ropes and decorating their homes with animal totem patterns. Just says that when I grow 2 years older, I can join the Warriors tournament, and I will definitely be the winner. The Hasbys are naturally competitive, so the celebration of the Edith festival doesn't emphasize emotional attachment like human holidays do. And apart from worshipping the forest god Edith, they also have their own ways of celebrating hand-to-hand combat, which is how the Warriors tournament came about. And when is talking about the Little Warriors tournament, and the energetic cubs, upon learning that that the adult Hasbys could participate in the Warriors tournament, clamored to join in as well. And we had a plan a Little Warriors tournament for the cubs as well, and set age restriction for safety reasons. Having confidence is great, but you can't slack off on training just because you underestimate the opponent. You're underestimating me. And she takes my hand and puts it on her arm. Touch my arm, feel the muscles. And I squeeze her arm and can't help but marvel that the Hasbys innate strength after a win is not even 10 years old. In the future, if I encounter danger, I can protect myself. I know Winnie is talking about the incident that happened in the Paquette Kingdom and that she has been feeling guilty about being a burden. Silly child, how old are you? And you still have a lot of time to grow. But I don't want to take it slow. I don't say once that time waits for no one. Don't even think about taking her away. And his hoarse, mournful voice, and an old woman with a withered face that close stumbles towards us. And I quickly put Winnie behind me, but am knocked down by the old woman. Ignoring the pain, I push Winnie away. Run away, Winnie. I'm not leaving you. And Winnie tries to help me, but the old woman grabs her and starts dragging her away. Let go of her. I won't let you succeed. The old woman looks insane, and my heart races with fear. And Winnie Harper doesn't stop. Instead, she turns around and signals to me not to worry. It's okay, I know Granny Sarah, and she won't hurt me. Winnie. I'm about to ask for more details, but Aaron suddenly appears and interrupts me. Dahlia. And I've not heard from him in a long time, and I was even mentally preparing myself for the possibility that he might not come back, and now he's here. And this is clearly not a good time to reminisce. And what did she do to you, too? Aaron shares in him, he's furious, and I can sense the overwhelming aura of a determined half-beast. And some person in Sarah is not afraid of him, and still doesn't let Winnie go. And the atmosphere is tense. Take a deep breath and calm down, Aaron. Yeah, like it's just a crazy old lady. You're not gonna murder a crazy old lady. Like, take it down a couple of notches. I think there'll be some kind of misunderstanding. Aaron backs to helping me up, and he reaches for Winnie again. Don't touch her. And Sarah holds Winnie tightly like an old mother leopard ready to fight to the death. Winnie, come over to us. And Winnie struggles slightly, and Sarah holds her even tighter. Granny Sarah doesn't have any ill intentions, and Winnie looks at me pleading, knowing she can easily break free from Sarah's grasp, but is afraid of hurting her. Do you know her, Winnie? Yeah. Sarah is really nice, and she even makes little sparrows for me. But I don't know why she's like this today. Are you hurt, Dahlia? And I quietly rub my back and shake my head at Winnie. If you know each other, perhaps it's just a misunderstanding. And I watch at Sarah trying to comfort her. Thank you for taking care of Winnie. And Sarah doesn't answer but stares at me with cloudy eyes, and I unconsciously clench my fist. Today is a holiday, and Winnie agreed to go out with us. Let's go home. We're going home. And I don't know what angered the old woman, but she grabbed Winnie and started walking, and Winnie stumbles along behind her too scared to break free. And I feel heartbroken as I watch, and I wish I could bring Winnie back, but I change my mind when I think of what Winnie said. Aaron, keep up with them and make sure Winnie doesn't get hurt. I am in a hurry to leave, but Aaron grabs my wrist. And what about you? I'm going to find Martha and ask what's up with Sarah. Which Martha? Batman's Martha? We don't spend much time at the House, so Martha should know more than we do about what's going on. Promise me you won't act recklessly. And Winnie really likes her, so I won't hurt her. So if she didn't like her, he wouldn't have any qualms about like beating up a crazy old woman that probably doesn't even know what year it is. Martha, here I am. Why are you in such a hurry? This isn't like you. Winnie has been taken away by an old woman named Sarah. And the old woman looks not quite sane. Or maybe it's Sarah from like the Terminator. And that's why, because since Time Princess, she like travels back and forth to time and like sometimes pulls people from different times. And I guess Sarah Connor ended up in Beast World. How do you know? I was the one who brought her here. Ah, so you did. I tell Martha what just happened. The matter with Sarah can wait, and let me check if you're badly hurt. I'm alright, I'm not bleeding. Come into the dressing room and I need to examine you. And why don't you change your clothing too? You're the owner of the Fort Hawk and you can't let people see you in such a sorry state. Alright, I listen to you, Lady Martha. And I bow mischievously and receive a glare in return. Alright, good enough. We can continue. After confirming that I'm in my heart, Martha finally talks about Sarah again. I haven't paid any attention to Sarah in a long time, and I only know that she has no family here and used to wander near the shops on the east side of town. And whenever we do an inventory check at the end of the month, I always see her and ask the staff to keep an eye on her. You didn't plan on bringing her back at first. Well, although the protection of the door has made things much easier for us, it's still important for us to keep a low profile, and I can just bring back just anyone without investigating first. There might be consequences. Rapid expansion is never a good thing for any group. Did something happen that led you to bring her here? A large fair was about to begin when she was driven away by angry residents. What could one person do that was so bad? The crowd was furious, and she tore down many of the vendor signs and even tried to smash their wares. It was devastating for them, and they were just regular people trying to make a living, and their hard work had gone to waste. And Martha doesn't need to understand any further, and I understand her situation, and the crowd can get stirred up, and angry groups can end up doing extreme things. And Martha is an excellent merchant, accustomed to weighing the pros and cons, and how could she know? And how could she not know that getting involved in a matter like this brings nothing but harm? But I am first and foremost a person with consciousness, and I can't watch conflict escalate into a bloody event. And anyway, Sarah is an elderly woman. So I paid the to settle the matter and brought Sarah back to Fort Hawk. And at the time, someone warned me and said I regret my decision. Yeah, it'd be like you regret helping a little old lady. Look at this too, Gore. Do you think you want that you done will change this old woman? Keep on dreaming. And she only looks pitiful, and underneath her skin is a mean, thoughtful bird. And we helped her out plenty of times, and then what? And how has she repaid us? We were hard for half a year preparing the fair, and now it's all gone to waste. And you regret helping her if she ends up hurting you. Like, dude, like you don't, like sometimes helping another person is its own reward, so that's what Jesus would do and all that nonsense. After she arrived at Fort Hall, she kept herself, and the people here don't accept her. And you know, this is a small community and its own ecosystem, and it's not a good thing to overly favor a few people. And luckily Sarah didn't cause any big trouble, so I relaxed a little. You've always been a very sensible person, and Martha has always taken care to help the vulnerable. And saving people in times of danger is a matter of consciousness, while neglecting them is a philosophy of self-preservation. I don't know how Winnie got involved with her, and I can't tell if the decision I made back then was right or wrong. I understand how you felt at the time, and if it were me, I would have made the same choice. And Martha brushes away her worry and cheekily glances at me. Of course, you made similar choices many times before and reaped exceptional sweet fruit. And look, your fruit can't wait to meet you. And she gazes warmly over my shoulder, and sure enough, when I turn around, I see someone. And I cough lightly, trying to dispel my restlessness. And how do you get here? And where's Winnie? A small head pops out from behind Aaron. I'm here. And you didn't notice me this time. Did your mind reading powers fail? Sarah is very wary of me, so I couldn't get too close and had to wait outside the house. And how did Winnie come back? Granny always seems really tired, and she fell asleep while holding me. And I was afraid you were worried about me, so I sneaked out of the house. I could hear steady breathing and she seems fine. In long-term companionship has created an indescribable understanding between Aaron and me. And if I don't say it, he knows what I'm worried about. Sarah is old, and after the outburst, it's not surprising she tired herself out and fell asleep. But to solve the problem, Martha seems to stop for Winnie's sake and simply exchanges a glance with me. Winnie to make sure Sarah isn't a danger to Winnie, and Martha writes a little alliance of words on paper and hands it to me. This is the place where Sarah used to wander. I guess we'll have yet another place to go. And of course, going back to the root is the best way to find solutions to problems. And Winnie looks up at us, confused, and I pull myself together and lightly ruffle Winnie's hair. And looks like we're getting one person on our team in our purchasing team, Winnie. I know who it is. And Winnie enthusiastically takes my hand and arms it, and then waves goodbye to Martha. I will help you keep an eye on Miss Dahlia and Aaron. That's such a huge responsibility. Before leaving, I quietly take out the crystal ball and keep it in a pocket. And at first, Winnie is very curious about the ball and keeps asking me what it is for. And as her attention is quickly diverted, and after several minutes of not getting a response from the crystal ball, Winnie loses interest and gives it back to me. But I have an indescribable feeling about it after hearing Martha say it. The feeling has only grown stronger. Perhaps Sarah and the crystal ball are linked. Perhaps because Aaron has returned, Winnie is even more excitable than before. And when she sees something interesting, she rushes forward without stopping, and when she realizes that we're falling behind, she quickly runs back at us. And thus she keeps going back and forth as if she has endless energy. A little like an energetic little bunny. And come on, Dahlia, and there are woven sparrows here too. Do you want one? Not really. And when he runs to over there and lowers her voice as if afraid of being overheard by the vendor. Hey, just between you and me, Granny's creations are way prettier, and she's giving me several already. And when he's very open about how much she likes Sarah, and that worries me even more. And after a response, I cautiously broached the topic. People really like you, don't they, Winnie? Unlike me, do I look like a bad person? Oh, with those creepy, with those weird cat chasing, yeah. You look like a sus person. She scrumbles up her face and shakes her head gravely. No way. You shouldn't talk about yourself like that, Dahlia. You are the best in the whole world. And Granny Sarah didn't mean it to. She's just. And perhaps the vocabulary isn't wide enough for her to accurately describe Sarah's condition. And when it struggles for a long while before finally finishing her sentence. She's just sick. And when his voice grows soft and my heart feels heavy. Yes, Sarah is sick. Sick. What a gentle description. And we don't get to go out often, Winnie. And why don't you pick out a gift for Sarah? Treat it as a thank you gift for the woven sparrows. That's a great idea. Do you think a scarf would be better or a hat? As long as it's from you, Sarah would like it a lot. When we return, we discover that Farha has an accident during our absence. And the forest god won't forgive you, and you're a wicked person who has ruined the celebrations. And she ruined the festive and disrespected our custom, and she does not deserve to stay in Fort Hawk. And she also ruined the decorations we made to celebrate the holiday, and it took a lot of effort to make them. And she's been here for long, and yet she keeps causing trouble for everyone and not showing us any gratitude. And why do we still keep her around? And the residents gather together shouting as if they're trying to outdo each other. No matter what happens, Martha will definitely step in to mediate at times like this. And I stood to the crowd for Martha and found her earnestly advising the people, but to little effect. And behind her is Sarah, who is in a trance. And Sarah looks like she wants to destroy the altar, but she's being restrained by someone, and she lets out a mournful cry. And remember what Sarah said. I can roughly guess what happened. I guess she created trouble for the festival. Fair festival is that she can bear to see others happy, or maybe festival gave her bad flashbacks. I shake my head and dismiss his speculation. It is far more important to calm everyone down right now. Is it about the customs of the happy community? Aaron, I'm afraid we need you to step in and help Martha resolve this issue. Alright. Dahlia, distance yourself and take Winnie with you. And there are too many people, and if things get out of trouble, I'm worried you might get hurt. Yeah, I nod and pull Winnie to the side. Winnie, come over here. Well, I'm impressed, young one. and during the organization of the hospice to reclaim the territory, indeed is mounted. Such situations of difference of opinion had occurred many times, and there have been so many that Aaron has transformed from an inarticulate youth into the composed and calm leader he is now. And even Martha can trust him to handle things. What happened, Martha? I don't know. By the time I got here, everyone was already riled up. And Martha falls silent for a moment and then suddenly covers Winnie's ear, and she lowers her voice and can hear very clearly over the noisy crowd. Is keeping her here really the right decision? I know Martha doesn't need me to answer, and she's just a bit confused, but I can always arrive in time. And after speaking, Martha releases her hand and she smiles at Winnie, but her eyes show fatigue. I guess like nursing homes don't exist in that world. Whatever, moving on. I'm about to say something when the crystal ball suddenly vibrates, and it feels almost like a machine starting up after it has been switched on. And while Martha's attention is still on us, Winnie, I sneak a glance downwards, and as expected the previous time, a flow of snowflakes are not swirling about on their own. What's wrong? And I jump a little and look up at Martha, giving her a helpless smile. I find the source of the problem as soon as possible, and suddenly Winnie shakes my hand. I want to go check on Granny Sarah. She seems really upset. And seeing that the crowd has calmed down without us efforts, I agreed to Winnie's request. I'll rather go with you. And when it was faster and faster, still holding the scarf she picked out for Sarah. And Sarah struggles again upon seeing Winnie, and she's unable to get freed, and she starts seeing red. Let Sarah go. I promise she won't do anything that will harm everyone's interest. And the person hesitates for a moment, but releases Sarah, and Sarah breaks free and embraces Winnie with such force that even the bystanders are taken aback. Granny Sarah brought you a gift. And Winnie tries to put the scarf on Sarah, but Sarah stares blankly at Winnie, and murky tears slide down her face. Grandma has finally found you. Child, can we stop fighting and make up? Oh, I guess like festivals give her bad flashback of a time that she lost her granddaughter because of a stupid fight. And then she tore the, I don't know, I'm just guessing. Let's move it along. You just got back and you're going out again. And I have my contacts gather information about Sarah and I'll send someone to retrieve it. Sarah isn't a famous person and she doesn't have any information that for her needs, and no one has paid attention to her before. We waste too much time going back and forth, and besides we just try while the iron is hot, and I already know where the problem lies. I just need to confirm it. The crystal ball has activated, the task has begun. Aaron is waiting for me, so I'll leave Winnie and Sarah with you for now. I look forward to hearing from you. The address that Martha gave us is very close to the clinic we set up in the east of the city and just 2 streets away. The buildings in this area are very old and the houses have been weathered by wind and snow. However, the unremarkable area is actually the most dense populated part of the city. And however, poor residents also have to rely on daily wage jobs to make a living, and young laborers go wherever there is work. And with so many people on the move, there are hardly many unscrupulous middlemen, but the area is also an excellent source of information. And Martha and I noticed this, and this is why we decided to set a Litos clinic here. During the times when there was no special mission, 4 Hawks informed us are just regular clinic staff. And only by representing the 4 Hawks token and confirming each one's identity will the informant drop their disguise. I didn't expect for you to come in person, and I heard that you've been traveling between several towns for the last 6 months, and I wasn't thinking that maybe I wouldn't get to see you this year. The Iris Festival is coming up, so I want to return to celebrate with Winnie and everyone else for Hawk. And as for why I am here this time, there's a reason behind it. Go straight to the point and inform her of our purpose. And throughout her life, and I thought her life would have become more stable as the martyr took her in, but she sadly recounts everything she knows about Sarah. And we regularly hold free consultations and often provide assistance to the elderly and children in need, and just as you and Martha requested. Unlike everyone else, Sarah has never come over on her own. Either a kind stranger can't bear to see her like that, or brings her to us, or Master happens to come across her doing her rounds and brings her along. And how should I put it, Daddy? The old woman is like a soulless shell, and her life of wandering and sleeping outdoors has left her with many injuries and illnesses, but she seems unable to feel warmth or pain. Maybe she has lost the will to live. No, that's not it. She shakes her head and her expression thoughtful. Daddy has been practicing medicine for many years and has seen all kinds of situations between life and death, and people who are determined to die usually don't live very long. And at least from what I can see, the old woman is doing everything she can to stay alive. I suddenly think of an old story in the Tara Kingdom, a story about atonement. Is she punishing herself, using the rest of her life to atone for something she did wrong? Dahlia, her home is near the old oak tree in the Starling Alley, and that's where you go if you want to find out more about her past. We leave the clinic and we find the old oak tree. And the door of the house before us is the old, but it looks fairly clean, and the place doesn't look like it is uninhabited. And I glance at Aaron and step forward to knock on the door. Who is it? The person who opens the door reeks of alcohol, and he leans against the door frame, half closing his eyes as if he sizes me out while holding a barrel of liquor. And I furrow my brow, feeling a bit uncomfortable, but given Sarah's situation, I try to keep as calm as possible. Do you know Sarah? No. And he picks up the wine barrel and gulps down some wine before pulling on the door, but Aaron stops and closing it. If you don't know Sarah, why do you look so guilty? You're trespassing and calling the guards. And I can't help but feel amused at the threat. And before I left Circe, I dealt with similar threats countless times. Let's stay here and wait. I wonder, once the guards figure out what happened, who will they help? The man starts to panic, his face turning as red as beet. Who are you? I breathe a sigh of relief, and I can possibly investigate the owner of every house in Starling Alley in a short amount of time. But based on the information only regarding the address and the nervousness of this man has shown upon hearing Sarah's name, I confidently conclude that the house does not belong to him. How sly of you to take over someone else's home. And I push the door open and walk in and survey the room like it's mine, and taking in the decorations and even the traces of the previous owner's life. And I walk to the corner where the stove is and gasp between the empty wine barrels, and I feel with a few dusty moving birds. You're the one who kicked Sarah out. And the accusatory tone infuriates, and the man grabs a wine barrel and trying to drive me away. Stay away from her, and Aaron has been nation jumps on to force and scaring the man so much his knees buckle and he almost falls to the floor. Just to be honest with me, I might not tell the sheriff about who you're taking out someone else's property, but if you don't behave, I smile and ask him another question in a most casual tone. Before you kick Sarah out, did you even bother to find out how many years you could be in prison for illegally occupying someone's property? The drunkard is crying mournfully, but he cannot break free of Aaron's grip, and he can only beg for mercy. So please have mercy, I'll tell you everything, and don't send me to prison. First question, what's your connection to Sarah? She's a relative of mine. And upon here answering, he seems to gain confidence and his voice growing louder. That old woman is crazy and doesn't have any children, so why can't I stay here? You have some nerve saying something like that while your relative is out there wandering around. And I know this person's character is beyond saving, but I don't plan on wasting my breath. Tell me what happened to Sarah. It's really her own fault, losing her granddaughter on a happy holiday and then losing her daughter. The drunkard's account of Sarah's past is even more complicated than I had guessed. Sarah's husband passed away early and her daughter was naive, and when she became pregnant, her lover deserted her and she gave birth to a girl, and Sarah chose to raise the little girl. And it was a happy family made up of 3 generations of women. And Sarah's daughter worked as a washwoman at a noble estate during the day while Sarah sold woven goods to supplement the household income. And I can't remember which holiday it was, but there was a celebration going on in the city and many prop vendors were eagerly making a profit. And the old woman probably thought the same thing. After all, those little things she made were quite popular. And the little girl, who was about the same age as Winnie, had always been well behaved and sensible, and no one had the heart to refuse her whenever she wanted to go out and play. And when Sarah saw that her daughter was busy with work, she decided to bring her granddaughter along when she set up her stall. And the earlier they finished their selling the wealth, the earlier they could close up and enjoy the festive home. When it was time to close up, her granddaughter was nowhere to be found, and Sarah searched all night until every household had gone to bed, to no avail. Also, she brought her 10-year-old granddaughter to sell stuff at the market, and then someone took the 10-year and then somebody stole the kid, and that's the end of that story. My cousin health wasn't very good, and when she found out that her daughter was missing, she became seriously ill and died shortly after. If you ask me, the old woman was just cursed from birth, and that's why people closer to her suffer from so much misfortune. I glance at him, and the suffering of a loved one is like a joke to him. You're not wrong. That's why Sarah's remaining family member is about to enter prison. It is simply fate. The drunkard's face turned pale, and he struggled frantically, but Aaron presents, and he can't possibly break free. You said that as long as I confessed, and you let me go, didn't you? I only said that I consider it, but I didn't promise I would. And what? After handing the drunkard over to the guards, I hired someone to clean Sarah's house. And the sunset casts long shadows behind us, and even though we are almost at the 4 heart, I feel exhausted. How should we handle the situation with Sarah? And a woman who's obsessed with finding her granddaughter, and she doesn't know or perhaps doesn't care how much trouble her behavior causes for others. No one is obligated to understand her past, so we can't expect others to forgive her current behavior. Is this the wish connected to the Cristobal, none other than Sarah's hope of finding her granddaughter? Or perhaps an old woman without many years left today simply yearns to experience family life again. She has brought harm to many people. While I feel for her, we can't let this continue. The question is, what methods can we use to resolve such a sad matter? Sarah is really nice to Winnie. She's not a bad person. However, even good people can do bad things. And if they do bad things, they should be punished. If she starts doing bad things, it will help her. That's my stance, Dahlia. And Aaron's simple answer immediately dispels my previous cluster and even disturbing thoughts. You're right, we can't mix these two things up. We should give the decision making power to the people who have been hurt by Sarah. I tell Martha everything. Sarah sees Winnie as her own granddaughter, and when she woke up and found that Winnie was gone and everyone around her was busy preparing for a celebration, all of that brought her back to the day she lost her loved one. And Martha sighs and nods to me. I agree with you, your idea that the people who were hurt should decide what to do about Sarah. Martha gathers around the people for her away from Sarah and Winnie and calmly explains the situation. She has the ability to embellish and describe Sarah's past in a more tragic and moving way, but she does not do so. The decision is up to you. Don't worry about anything afterwards. After all, I'm the one who brought Sarah here, and if you think she's not a good fit, I'll find someone else for her. Aaron and I found Sarah's previous one, and it has already been cleaned up and by a higher help. And I want you to know that even if she can't stay here, she won't end up with no place to go to. The crowd remains silent for a long time, and after a while someone finally speaks up in a dry and dull manner. The damage she caused isn't really that great, and so just some decorations, and I'll make a few more when I have time. Her words are like sparks quickly igniting the wilderness. The goddess of the forest is the most compassionate of us, and she wouldn't fault a poor grandmother. And besides, Sarah calmed down right after finding Winnie, and we don't necessarily have to drive her away, do we? Yeah, as long as she doesn't harm my child, I can also have my daughter visit her often. My loved ones also passed away while hunting. And easy for harm, a home for the homeless, and who are we to kick out someone who has nowhere else to go to? The crowd talks excitedly and finally reaches a consensus, and everyone wishes to let Sarah stay. My vision goes blurry, and Aaron tightens his grip on my hand. You're amazing, Dahlia, and you gave us all a home. The vibration of the crystal ball comes to a halt, and I place my hand on the crystal ball. It is warm amidst the cheering of the crowd. And people had accepted Sarah, and she's now part of our family. And Sarah's little secret wish has been granted. The Edith Festival proceeds as per schedule, and worried that Sarah might have another episode, Winnie has been keeping her company. This room is too warm, I am starting to sweat, and let me take a look to see if we burn too much charcoal. And because of the Edith Festival, Winnie only has half a day of classes today, and after school she goes directly to Sarah. Hey, Granny Sarah, and why are you still wearing a scarf? Aren't you hot? I'm not hot. Alright, maybe humans are just not very resistant to the cold. And Winnie is no longer hesitant, as if suddenly realizing something. She hourly approaches and crouches down in front of Sarah. Granny Sarah, I want to ask you for your help. As long as it is something you want, I will help. Will you teach me how to weave like sparrows out of straw? It's so cool. Miss Dahlia was envious when she saw the bird you gave me, and I want to learn how to make them so I can give one to her. Oh, and I should give one to Aaron too. Of course. This child. And Sarah teaches and Winnie learns, and the two are close as grandmother and grandchild. I gently close the door, and then I turn around and run smack into someone. Aaron. And we're standing so close together, and I can hear the thumping of his heart, and I'm not sure if it's his or mine. Sorry. You just can't stop following me around, can you? And why can I follow you around? Hey, that's stalkery behavior there. We've been apart for so long, I just can't help it. And he's right, and I feel a bit melancholy. After all, we don't spend much time together. Martha told me that the person often comes looking for you, and I know you feel different about her, and I can't stop you from seeing her. But I still hope to have a place in your heart. And Aaron's ears drop, and his puppy-like eyes make him look like a fluffy and vulnerable animal. And I suddenly lose my composure, and a pang of guilt makes me reflect on whether I have neglected Aaron. I'm such an idiot. I instantly hug him. I do like you. And why wouldn't I like you? Who do you like more, her or me? Wait a moment. I let go of Aaron, and cartwheels turn in my mind. Aaron, who taught you to say these things? And his glance sideways away from me. No one. It's just me. If I hadn't figured things out by this point, I wouldn't deserve to call myself a business person. Martha, come out and explain this to me. Aaron leans down and wraps an arm around my waist and plants a quick kiss on my lips. And before I can respond, he releases me. Martha told me that if I did this, you wouldn't be angry anymore. You too. And I don't have the heart to scold them, and my voice grows soft. And he looks at me beseechingly, and my heart melts. How could I be angry at you? Otena, the retrieving was lost. Alright, so that's that ending. Alright, that's enough time, Princess, for today. I hope you have fun with me reading you the stuff. Bye bye and God bless.